everybody. So for this video, I just wanted to briefly go over the two sample research guides that are in your week 2 folder. So you can see here the sample, this first sample. I'll go ahead and open that up. So what you can kind of notice by looking at both samples is that they're both quite different. So, it's just going to depend on the information that you've gathered, the discourse community that you're working with. You're going to kind of come up with some slightly different things. So the headings will be different and that kind of stuff. But the basic information is similar. So we can kind of see here that this one is the discourse community of jazz musicians. This student chose to start with a definition of the community and then to list the membership requirements. And these are kind of based on Swales's characteristics, right? And then also you can see the headings are kind of organized somewhat around Swales's characteristics. So the goals and the values, and then the student kind of listed off the goals and the values. Conformity within the group and the evolution of the group. And then each one of those bullets kind of gives that explanation for what the student found based on the interview questions and from exploring the research guides. And then Lexis, these are once again the terminology relating to music. This is music theory or history. And then she kind of lists, maybe one of the words that is used is to shed, which means to practice. And I don't know what that word means. I wouldn't know that. So that's an example of the kinds of language that would be used within that discourse community. So she's just kind of listed off some of those words that she's familiar with or aware of and given an explanation of what that means. Topics of discussion and the types of information that are exchanged, methods of intercommunication and networking venues, a list of the genres that are used, and a list of the writing and the research. And then she ends with the research questions, so 2 research questions. So that's an important part to remember to this research guide as well, is that you need to develop some research questions. And then at the end here, we have her bibliography. So we can take a look at the bibliography and we can see that she based this entire research guide on interviews with 3 different people. So a telephone interview, an email interview, and another telephone interview. She also lists a bibliography of potential resources. So it's not that she's citing those sources in her research guide, but these are some sources that she found that she might be returning to when she starts to do the research in her later papers. So she lists 3 journals that she's found that are kind of important journals in her field, and 2 articles that she found. Now, she might not have read these articles, right? She might have just kind of skimmed them over and flagged them as something that she might want to return to. So, so this is the first student sample. We'll go ahead and take a look at the second one. So down here, we've got the second one. Go ahead and open that up. And we can see that this one is formatted slightly differently, but it starts with, personal research guide for the education discourse community. So this person is an education major. She starts with an introduction and kind of an explanation of the people that she's interviewed. Then she goes into a concept of the discourse community. And you can see instead of bulleting, she's got kind of a numbered list here. And once again, this is all based on Swales's concept of a discourse community, his 6 criteria, right? And then she just, very similar to the previous student example, she kind of organizes this around Swales's criteria. So common public goals, and is the first section, and she discusses the common public goals and how she found those goals and how she knows that. And then the next one is methods or mechanisms of intercommunication. And she lists the prominent venues that she had for these intercommunication. And then she ends with her research questions. So she's got 3 research questions. And then we can see on the following pages, here's her bibliography. So we can see that she's based her information on, well, this is a personal interview here. that she retrieved, or yeah, sorry. So the personal interview, as well as a couple of web resources, right, that she probably found from looking around on the research guides. So I think that looking through these samples will kind of give you a good idea of what it is that you need to do for your paper. So you can kind of see it's not like a typical essay, right? It's kind of organized with headings and kind of bullets. You know, some things are listed, not in full sentences and stuff. So I think that this, you know, between these two samples, this kind of gives you two different ways of doing the research guide. And like I said, there's some overlap, although they're both different as well. So if you still have some questions after looking through these samples on your own more closely, you know, you should email me with your specific questions as you move forward, okay? And I'll be happy to help you guys out. So one other thing I just wanted to point out, get back here to our, I wanted to point out that I did put the sample interview questions that I went over in the previous video. I've got them linked here. And I also did want to take a look at what we need to do for the week. So for this week, the thing to point out is that the draft of this project, of your research guide, is due for peer review on Friday. So we're going to peer review all of our materials. So you're going to submit your draft on Friday to a group folder. So I'll set that up and I'll send an announcement letting you know which group you're in. And you'll submit your draft to a group folder. And then you'll have between Friday and Sunday to review, to use insert comment feature to review your group's drafts and make comments, and then you need to submit those by Sunday. So the main thing you need to be aware of at this point is that you do need to have a peer draft ready to submit for peer review on Friday at midnight. All right. Seems like there's something else, but I think that's the main thing that's due for this week. And like I said, I'll send out an announcement letting you know, and maybe a video showing you how to do that peer review as we get closer to that deadline. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions.